does that even mean, Bowers Game Corps?
Ahoy there, YouTube! I'm back again today for another game review, and today I'm very excited to check out Star Trek Panic from USAopoly and Fireside Games. This is for 1 to 6 players. It'll take you about, I think, 69 minutes to play, and it is for ages 13 plus. And in Star Trek Panic, you're going to be taking control of the USS Enterprise, steering yourself around space, fighting with Klingons, trying to complete missions in this cooperative-based game. It is a redoing of Castle Panic and Dead Panic, which I will mention right now. I have not played either of those, unfortunately. It tries to incorporate the Star Trek theme in a game that can play 1, it can play up to 6, but does it play well? Let's open it up, and I'll tell you what I think about it. Alrighty then, we're going to take a look at what you're going to get inside of Star Trek Panic. First and foremost, we got our handy dandy rule booklet, 16 pages, double-sided, full color, full of pictures, illustrations, examples, and it is incredibly well done. It'll have you up and running in no time at all. Big thumbs up in the rule booklet. So, in Star Trek Panic, what you're going to be doing is you are going to be taking the USS Enterprise and going on various different missions. There's all sorts of different kinds of missions. And what you have to do is complete 5 different missions. If you can complete 5 missions, then you'll be the winner of the game if you're playing the easy version of the game. The missions are going to be things like rescuing people, or checking out abandoned ships, or fighting people, or encountering aliens, dealing with bad guys, all sorts of different stuff that you would experience in a Star Trek episode back from the original series. So we're going to go over the components and then we'll get into the gameplay. So first, let's take a look at the board. Let's take a look at the Enterprise. You obviously want to see that. You're going to be creating this out of cardboard when you first start the game. It's pretty easy to create, and this is going to be your central hub. So as you can see, there's these guys right here. These are going to be your shields, and your shields can get damaged. And you'll have a little marker that you'll slide on there to symbolize that they are damaged, and eventually they can get completely destroyed, at which point you will just pop that out like so. And then when they are destroyed, people will be able to directly attack you, at which point you will put these on here, and then worst case scenario, what can happen is your entire part of your ship can be destroyed, and you'll place that on top of there. If too many parts of your ship get destroyed, then you won't be able to maneuver it, which honestly means you're probably going to lose the game. And if your entire ship gets destroyed, well, then you guessed it, you will lose the game. So you're trying to complete 5 missions before you get destroyed. What's going to be destroying you? Well, there's all sorts of bad guys lurking in your Star Trek Panic bag, aka your threat bag. And there's Tholians, and there's Klingons, and there's generic ones like these, and these are going to be 3-sided ships, and this right here will be pointing at you and showing you how much damage or how much health they have left at them. So as you hit them, you will be flipping them to show you how much health they have on them. Also, there are a bunch in here that are special ones that will do various different things, and they'll look different than the other ones. Some will cloak, some will do 2 damage. There's quite a few of them, actually, and they have all of how they work in the rule booklet, obviously, but nicely enough, they also have all the information down here and right over here to show you how all the different ships work, so you can kind of just be like, all right, I got Koloss Battlecruiser, what happens now? So that is a very nice graphic design touch that they put that right there. So you keep track of your missions here. This will have all the different kinds of ships. They're going to be in your bag right there. So let's head back to those missions we talked about. You got to complete 5 of them. This is generally what a mission card is going to look like. It will have a mission timer, so that's how many turns you have to complete the mission. And you'll be keeping track of the mission timer on this guy right here. It will give you a little bit of flavor text and also give you the mission objective. And then it will show you what you need down here in order to complete the mission. So this one's going to need 2 of these cards, 1 of these cards, 1 of these cards, and 1 of those cards, in addition to maneuvering your ship a specific way. Each one is also going to give you a reward. So this reward is all uncloaked Klingon ships on the board take 1 damage, which could be pretty good. One thing I really enjoy about the game, spoiler, is not all of these are blowing everything up. Some of them, you're checking out abandoned ships lost out in space, and that can be good or that can be bad because it might be space pirates on there, or it might be, somebody you can add to your security team. But that's something I'll talk more about in the pros and cons, but those are the general mission structures. Keeping on with the components, everyone's going to get one of these handy dandy little cheat cards, which will show you exactly the order you'll be doing on your turn. Because on your turn, you're going to complete all these actions, and then it'll move on to the next person. So who are you going to be playing as? Well, each player is going to get a character from the game. Spock, you got Scotty, Chekhov, Sulu, Leonard McCoy, and of course Captain Kirk. And each one is going to have its own unique special ability that you definitely want to utilize throughout the game. So Spock, for instance, he's got a really good one. Normally you're going to draw 2 new threats, aka bad guys, out of the bag, and then you play them onto the board by rolling this die right here. However, he actually gets to draw 3 and pick which 2 he likes, which can really help things out. Captain Kirk has a really good ability too. Whenever he plays a card towards a mission, because as we mentioned, missions are going to need various different cards to complete it, he gets to draw 2 more cards. So each of them have really good, pretty good special abilities, and I feel like they're pretty well balanced as well, which I was pleasantly surprised about. So I talked a little bit about cards. You're going to need cards to complete everything, and these are going to be your Enterprise deck. And there's all sorts of different kinds of cards in here. This is a really good card. It's going to hit anyone who is in front of you in those 2 spaces, which as you can see would be these spaces right here, and it's going to do 2 damage to them. Or you could trade it in as a science credit, aka something to help you complete a mission. We have special ability cards, security team, because sometimes what's going to happen is if ships get too close, they will try and board your ship. And theme coming across, you have to send down a security team to try and deal with them, or they're going to do massive amounts of damage to you. Dilithium, which can help repair your damaged shields, because as we mentioned, shields will get damaged and your ship will get hurt. Medical scanner, draw 2 Enterprise cards, add 1 to your hand, and give 1 to another player. Lots of useful stuff in here. I feel like there's just the right amount of cool cards in here. I would like to see more, but that's because I like the game. Spoiler alert. Any other components I really need to tell you about? You got a bunch of tiles over here. These are all mission related though, so you just want to keep them separate because as I mentioned, each mission is going to have its own unique flavor and feel. So when you start up the game, each player is going to start with 6 cards, and the game says that you can just put them face up like this because it is completely cooperative. And then you are going to go ahead and go through the order of operations. First thing to do, you draw up to 6 cards. We have 6 cards. Next, you will reveal a new mission if you need to. So we would reveal this mission right here, the Trouble with Tribbles. So mission timer starts as 6. And players may not trade cards. So that kind of stinks right there. What we're going to need to do is collect all of this stuff. So we put this out here, and we put our timer on the 6, and we are ready to rock and roll over here. So next phase, trade a card, which normally would just be very simple. You look around the board and say, all right, maybe we got a bad guy here, we got a bad guy there. I don't have anything that's going to shoot them right now, so maybe you could trade me a card for something that's going to help me shoot them. But obviously this mission dictates that we can't trade cards. But this would be the phase where you could trade a card with another player. So now what you're going to do is you're going to play a card and maneuver. And one thing I like is you're able to do that in any order you want. You can maneuver, then play cards. You can play cards, then maneuver, then play some more cards. And that really will come in handy, especially when you start having, you know, people over here, people over there, all sorts of different bad guys surrounding you. So that is important. So playing a card, let's just see. Right now, we don't really need to play cards because we don't have any bad guys on the board, but you would start with bad stuff on the board. You'd play your cards. You check the mission status to see if it's completed or not. Obviously, it would not be completed, but we could start contributing. So we might contribute this yellow card right here, which means we would put it right over here. And now we only need 1 yellow card, 1 blue, 1 red, 1 of this, and to position our ship, and we will be successful. So we played cards, we maneuvered, so we'll just say we maneuver like that. Now, when you maneuver, you have 2 options, 3 options really. You can turn 1 space clockwise, 1 space counterclockwise, or what you can do is you can boost forward. And how that works is, so let's just say this guy was right here and we boosted forward. That would mean he would come 1 space closer to us. Also, anyone over here would come 1 space closer to us. Everybody in all the different sections doesn't get impacted by this, but that will become important to do because, you know, sometimes you need people to board you in order to succeed on different missions, which will force you to push yourself forward. So then threats, move, and fire. How this works is pretty much all the ships on the board, as long as they're not cloaked, are going to just fire at you. And this is where you're going to start putting on, you know, your damage tokens, and things are going to start getting damaged and destroyed, all that bad stuff. They move 1 space closer to you, and then you're going to draw 2 new threats, which goes like this. You reach into the bag, you pull out 2. Let's see what we got. Oh, we got a Koloff's battlecruiser, which then we would read down here and see what it does. After placement, all Klingon ships move one sector closer to the Enterprise. However, cloaked ships remain cloaked. So this would just mean that he's going to be instantly just in your face. So we're going to place him first. So we would roll the dice. He would go on the 4 space, but then as per the special ability, he would actually go right there, 1 space closer to us. Then we would play out this one, the Romulan battlecruiser, which is just a regular one. He would go in the 3 space, and we would make sure we put the 2 pointing towards us because that is his health. And then the next player would start their turn. You would move the mission timer down 1. You would rinse, wash, and repeat. And what you're trying to do, as I mentioned earlier, is complete 5 missions and then destroy all of the ships that are around you. If you can do that successfully, then you will be the winner of Star Trek Panic. And that, in a nutshell, is how the game is played. Alrighty then, Star Trek Panic from Fireside Games and USAopoly. What are my final thoughts? Let's go over the pros. Let's go over the cons. First, on the con side of the game, it's not going to be for everybody for a couple different reasons. While it does have a 1 to 6 player count, which I love because you can play it at the higher player counts, when you play at the higher player counts, you're going to have downtime between turns. And there's not too much player involvement when it's not your turn. Now, they try and mitigate this by having the trade phase, which is very important, but still, I feel like 1 to 4 players is the sweet spot with this game. Granted, 5 and 6 is not bad. It's just there's a little bit more time between turns that I would like. Another con that I had with the game is that I wish there were more missions. I really do like the different missions in the game and how they're varied and they don't feel samey. But once you get to about game 2, game 3, game 4, you're going to start repeating missions because I think there's only 18 in the game and you're going to be trying to complete 5 of them. And if you're playing on the hard mode, you're going to be trying to complete more of them. Now, I'm sure in the future they're going to have expansions with more missions, which is great, but I just want more now. So I guess that's really not that big of a con. It's just a testament to how much I like the game. Another problem that I had with the game is that the box is just a smidge bit larger than you would like it to be, and that's mainly because, awesomely enough, you can fit the ship in there without having to disassemble it. So this is kind of a moot point, but still the box is a little bit thicker than you would like it to be. Any other cons I have with the game? Oh, the game is pretty simple. You know, if you're hoping this is going to be a deep, meaty, thinky, cooperative game, it's probably not going to be this one. Generally, your decisions are going to be, you'll have maybe 2 or 3 decisions to make at a time. It's not a terribly difficult, it's not a terribly meaty game is what I'm trying to tell you here. It's very easy to learn, very easy to teach, so if you're looking for something deeper, this one might not be for you. You might want to look at, like, say, Star Trek Fleet Captains or something like that. So, anything else I got? No! Moving on to the pros, Star Trek Panic is awesome. I really like this game. And there's a lot of different reasons why I like the game. First and foremost, component-wise, the components are top-notch. The board, the graphic design is very useful. I love the fact that they have all the different ships and what they do on the board. I love that they have the completed mission track on the board. I love how great this game just looks on the table. You have the ship and it starts getting damaged and you start putting the tokens on there and then parts of it get destroyed and you can just slowly see your ship crumbling. And another thing I love about this game is the theme comes across with the cards, with the missions, with the components. If you like Star Trek, this is a no freaking brainer. I mean, really. The theme comes across really well. I mentioned a little bit earlier in the cons, I love how the different missions feel different. You got all these different tokens and things that you're going to have when you're playing different missions, and it's not just, hey, go shoot Klingons. Hey, go shoot more Klingons. Hey, go shoot these guys. No, it's like, oh man, we're going to go explore this abandoned ship. You can go over here, but you got to boost to get it. But it could be space pirates, or it could be this, or oh, you got to get this alien on your ship. I like the different variable missions in the game. So I was a big fan of that. I like the ease and simplicity of this game. While it is a really enjoyable game night game. So this game fits perfectly as a game night game. It fits great as a gateway game because it's very simple to learn, very simple to teach. Its cooperative nature lends itself to teaching people quite easily. The cheat sheet card helps with that a lot. One more con I forgot to mention, kind of an obvious one, it's a cooperative game, and this game is very susceptible to alpha gamers, but that's the nature of the beast with most cooperative games, except for time ones and stuff like that. But continuing on to the pros, fantastic components, very well done rule booklet. The theme comes across. I like the art selection. I like the different pictures they have in the game. Everything is easy to read, easy to understand, and overall, Star Trek Panic is a home run, no-brainer. If you're a Star Trek fan, absolutely check this one out. If you're not a Star Trek fan, but you like cooperative games and you like themes in your game, this one is still a great game. And just overall, works very well together. One I highly recommend, that is Star Trek Panic from USAopoly and Fireside Games. Really enjoy this game, instantly going into my collection, and I can't wait for expansions with more missions, more cards, more characters, more bad guys. Whew. This might be one of my favorite games of 2016. So that is Star Trek Panic from USAopoly and Fireside Games. If you enjoyed this review, please be sure to click on the subscribe button down below in the comments below. Let me know, Star Trek or Star Wars, which one is your preference? I'm sure this is going to be an unpopular opinion, at least on this video maybe, but I like Star Wars better. I just always have, and I feel like I just like lightsabers. I feel like that's it. But Star Trek, I really loved the TV show. I used to watch it with my mom, and we watched Deep Space Nine. And so I like both of them, but I like Star Wars just a little bit better. But Star Trek, Star Wars, let me know in the comments below. And as always, thanks for your time, YouTube.